In the golden vastness of the Egyptian desert, where the dunes whisper ancient secrets to the wind, a pharaoh was born, destined to alter the course of civilization. Long before his name was carved into stone, Egypt was in turmoil. The previous dynasty had collapsed under the Hyksos invasions, foreigners who conquered the Nile Delta with bronze weapons and chariots, never before seen. Chaos ruled. The temple of Karnak lay in ruin, the gods seemed silent, and the people feared the Ma'at. The cosmic order was broken. In this setting was born Neferkha, a boy marked by a black star between his eyes. Priests could not tell if it was a blessing or a curse. Prophecy spoke of a king who would restore Egypt, but at the cost of blood and shadow. From an early age, Neferkha displayed unusual brilliance. At 5, he could recite sacred texts. At 8, he was taken to the temple of Thoth, where scribes declared, "He hears the dead." Was he chosen by the gods, or summoned by ancient forgotten spirits? At just 17, he ascended the throne following the mysterious death of his father. His first decree: rebuild Thebes as the sacred capital. He reunified the priesthood, summoned craftsmen from across the valley, and began a new calendar, year 1 of the Black Star. With this new era, Egypt began to rise again. But along with prosperity came whispers. Who truly was Neferkha? Man or entity sent to seal something terrible? What was the meaning of the Black Star? With eyes that seemed to pierce beyond life, the new pharaoh was preparing to leave an eternal mark, one the world would never forget. With the sudden death of his father, the old pharaoh Setem-Hotep, young Neferkha was crowned before he even turned 18. The throne was unstable, the people divided, and the priesthood suspicious. Many saw him as just a boy with a strange mark on his forehead. Others whispered, the one chosen by the dead. The coronation ceremony was silent, almost somber. Instead of the traditional gold and lapis lazuli, Neferkha wore black garments and held a scepter of obsidian. He broke protocols. Some elders protested, but the crowd roared when in his first public speech, he vowed to restore Egypt, not with the sword but with spirit, not with fear but with order. His reign began with bold reforms. Neferkha reorganized the scribes, introducing a new accounting language for taxation and agriculture. He established learning centers in Karnak where youths of all classes could study astronomy, medicine, and writing. Some called this heresy. Knowledge belongs to the gods, not the people, cried the priests of Amun. But Neferkha knew knowledge was power. Quietly, he was forming a new elite, scholars, engineers, and healers, not just warriors and nobles. He also launched a vast irrigation project. Ancient buried canals were restored, and the southern fields flourished. Markets thrived, hunger disappeared. Yet his eyes were set on something greater, the afterlife. He ordered tunnels excavated in Saqqara. There he found ancient sarcophagi that didn't match any known dynasty. Their walls bore inscriptions in unfamiliar scripts, depictions not of Egyptian gods but of something older and darker. Neferkha shared nothing of what he found. He only whispered to his scribe, "There is something beneath the sands, something that breathes time." At night he vanished from the palace. Rumors said he walked among tombs alone, that he spoke to shadows, that his mark glowed like fire when he touched certain stones. But despite all, Egypt prospered like never before. The people loved him, and his enemies began to fear him. Neferkha's face was rarely seen. Even during festivals or public ceremonies, he wore a dark linen veil over his eyes. Some said his gaze could burn through lyres. Others claimed his black star mark grew larger with every full moon. Mystery clung to him like an invisible cloak, and the people, torn between fear and faith, revered him as a living deity. Though young, the pharaoh did not marry in his early reign. Rumors spread that no woman could endure being near him for long. Servants allegedly went mad after glimpsing his face during lunar rites. Only one woman, a priestess named Neith from the temple of Sekhmet, was seen with him on multiple nights. Shrouded in gold veils, she was said to speak the language of snakes and sleep among jackals unharmed. No one knew if Neferkha loved her, but after her arrival at the palace, he began wearing a new symbol, a necklace of 3 intertwined serpents, representing birth, death, and rebirth. He shifted the spiritual landscape. Instead of Amun or Ra, he elevated a forgotten force mentioned only in cryptic scrolls, Neferkha, the god without time, a silent presence that existed before the gods. Neferkha commissioned murals depicting this entity, a hooded figure surrounded by spirals, its eyes like black stars. Amun's priests objected. Many were exiled. Old temples were closed. On the walls of a new sanctuary built in the desert, it was written, "Eternity belongs not to the sun, but to the shadow that holds it." This temple defied Egyptian norms. It was circular, made of smooth black stones that absorbed the sun's heat. No hieroglyphs, no known gods, only geometric symbols that made viewers dizzy if stared at too long. Neferkha spent hours inside, often in trance. Gods never entered. Only Neith passed through its doors, returning with red eyes, as if weeping before infinity. During this time the pharaoh began writing with his own hand a book, the silent heart of Kemet, part oracle, part doctrine, part prophecy. No scribe dared copy it. At the end of the third season, he locked it inside a golden box and hid it deep within the Black Pyramid still under construction. Neferkha was no longer just a king, he was something more, and Egypt was no longer merely a land of gods, but of something that came before them. In the early years of his reign, Neferkha brought peace and prosperity to Egypt. The fertile lands along the Nile flourished like never before, and his people adored him as a god. Yet despite all his grandeur, the pharaoh's gaze extended beyond what human eyes could perceive. His interest turned toward the realm beyond death. It was during the height of his reign that he embarked on his most ambitious project, the Black Pyramid. Unlike traditional pyramids which were made of white limestone, this pyramid was to be constructed entirely of obsidian, a rare black material like the night. The pharaoh entrusted this project to a group of architects and engineers skilled in the construction of royal tombs. However, he personally oversaw every detail. In the beginning, the people didn't understand. Many believed he was attempting to create a gateway to the beyond. Others whispered that the pyramid would be his own tomb, something far more mysterious than anyone could imagine. As the years passed, the pyramid began to take shape, and with every layer of obsidian that rose, something strange occurred. Workers began disappearing, one by one. Most were found dead, but with strange marks on their bodies, as if touched by something beyond. Neferkha spent more time inside the pyramid, often entering trance-like states, murmuring incomprehensible words. Some claimed he spoke with the dead, others said the pharaoh was building something much more dangerous, a portal to a realm beyond the gods' control. In a moment of crisis, the pharaoh summoned the greatest priests and sages in the land. During a night ritual within the pyramid, a hoarse, inhuman voice emerged from the obsidian walls. It whispered, "The portal is almost ready, the end is near." It was at that moment that Neferkha understood the true purpose of the pyramid. It was not just a tomb, but a link between the living and the dead, between the realm of the gods and the realm of men. His fate was sealed. He would no longer rule only the living, but also those who had passed. He was, in truth, the Black Star Pharaoh, destined to reign over two worlds, and so while Egypt flourished, Neferkha ventured deeper into his spiritual journey, until the moment he would disappear within the pyramid, becoming a legend. After Neferkha's disappearance within the Black Pyramid, Egypt was consumed by a silent shadow. His people still worshipped the pharaoh, but Egypt was now a kingdom without a leader. No ruler dared to follow his steps, for they knew the pyramid was not merely a tomb, it was a portal to something that transcended the gods. The priests, concerned by the growing power Neferkha had acquired, sealed access to the pyramid, and the city of Thebes entered a period of spiritual and political decline. The Black Pyramid continued to rise, but its energy began to affect the land around it. The Nile, once a constant source of life, began to behave unpredictably, with droughts and floods coming in shorter and shorter cycles. The fields dried up, but inexplicable moments of abundance followed. For many years, Neferkha's body was never found, but those who entered the Black Pyramid claimed to hear whispers in forgotten tongues and saw his shadow moving on the walls as if he was still alive. Some claimed he still ruled, but in a different form. He was no longer a mortal king. He had become an entity, connected to the dead, to the gods, and to the deepest secrets of the universe. Over time, many began to forget his existence, but the people of Egypt never stopped telling his stories. He became a living legend, his image replaced by the Black Star in every representation, the pharaoh who merged with eternity. The priests tried to erase his name from the inscriptions, but the Black Star continued to appear in unexpected places, on ancient temples and pyramids, on forgotten monuments and shrines. The Black Star Pharaoh, though absent, was still present. What truly happened inside the pyramid remains a mystery, and Neferkha's true legacy will never be fully understood. What we know is that the pharaoh did not die. He transcended. He became the star in the sky and the shadow that guides the mortals. His name remains immortal, and Egypt is eternally marked by his presence.